It blew it right off. No more boost. What's going on, guys? It's Danny from Slow Restoration, and we're over in the far corner of the shop, and we have this. I think it's a 1981 Camaro. It's been here for a little while. We got some parts in for it. Let's go ahead and get this dug out. We'll back it out. We'll get it over on the lift side and get some stuff done to it. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing to fire up. Almost. Here now, got a little heat in it. As you can see, we are changing the headers, getting rid of all that old nasty header wrap. It's got oil soaked in it. That's what the smoke is, but let's get it over to the left side and we'll get to work on this thing. We're up on the lift here. First thing we're doing here is draining the oil. We're going to do an oil change. When this car came in, I did a video, but the floats were sticking and it put a lot of fuel down in the oil. So we did an oil change first, ran it just for a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and do another oil change to make sure all that is 100% cleaned out. We are doing a new power steering box, which is right here. And since we have it up in the air, go ahead and back the nut off the bottom of the pitman arm shaft. Steering shaft, and remove the pitman arm. Just use a puller, comes off nice and easy. We'll go up top, unhook our lines and our rag joint, and then there should just be 3 bolts right here on the side. We'll pull that box off, swap it out for that box, and also while we're up there, we'll go ahead and remove the bolts for the headers and see if we can get them out. I think we're going to leave the oil filter off for right now because it's a little bit tight through there. We don't want to dent the new oil filter, give us a little more room. So we'll let this finish draining, drop it down, and get to work up top. Doing a few things to this, getting those headers unbolted. We do have the power steering lines unhooked, but we did just get another truck dropped off. This project's going to kind of be, this Camaro is going to kind of be whenever. Pick away at it. Let's go outside real quick and check out the truck that just showed up. So there we have it. It's a 2004 Dodge 2500 Cummins diesel, and as you can see, it's got the typical cap corner rust and the rockers are pretty much gone. So customer picked up some new sheet metal. It's got cap corners, got rockers, inner rockers. But the first step in this is to pull the bed off. It also has a fifth wheel, whatever you call that. I think that's fifth wheel. We're getting rid of that because where it's bolted to the frame is also rusting. So we're going to try and get rid of that and clean up the frame. But like I said, the first step in this is get the bed lifted off. So as you can see, we got our clamp loose for the filler neck. If we peek underneath here, there's one bolt right there. We have that out. All the rest of them are just cross members, no bolts in them. One bolt, where is it? Right there. You gotta go through, it's actually right there. You gotta go through the frame rail. And on this other side, real quick, we'll run over. up front, the bed rail is completely rotted out. So that bolt is actually doing nothing. We got the bolt out, but there's absolutely no metal there anymore. So we're not doing anything to the bed except pulling it off and cleaning stuff up. It does have rust in the bed. He plans on getting another bed here in the near future, so it is what it is. They also don't have a wire disconnect on the taillight harness, so you have to pull the taillights out and fish the harness down through. We did that. They also had a fifth wheel plug inside the bed there. We got that pulled out. So we're going to run these straps across, pull that spare tire out. We'll get our long forks and tractor stuffed in there, get it hooked up. And I think the only thing we have left to disconnect is the filler hoses, and we do have those loosened up, so we'll get them slid apart and get the bed lifted off and see what we're up against. All right, we're hooked up here. Got the John Deere long forks, straps. Let's go ahead and lift this bed right up off the frame here. All right, after pulling the safety chain hoops out, which actually go through the bed floor and back into the hitch, which will not allow the bed to lift off, let's try this again. All right, well, I guess I was wrong. There's actually 2 more bolts in the back, in the very, very back. See if I can see them here. They actually go through the hitch. Well, you have an access hole through the hitch tube. Anyway, we got 6 bolts out of the bed now. Let's give this a third try. And there we have it, bed's off. Now we can see that 5th wheel plate and everything we need to clean up. And as it turns out, this gas tank strap was also broke. And as you can see, there's a big gap, so the back of this tank was falling down. Looks like there's a line missing off here too. So it's got some issues, some things we need to address. But let's get the truck out of the way. We'll get the bed safely set down, and we'll get tackling the rest of this project. All right, now time to tackle getting this plate off, this hitch plate off the frame. Obviously these bolts are not coming out there. You can actually flake the nut apart with your fingers, so we'll torch that off. It threw bolts to the bottom here, and then the front, there is a giant U-bolt that goes around the frame. Same way with that, we'll just torch it off and get this off. This thing is absolutely junk. You can actually grab it and just flake it apart with your fingers. The top plate here, same way. You can pull 1/8 inch sections of steel right off. Kind of crazy, just petrified. So we'll get that hitch off, get the frame cleaned up. Hopefully it didn't do too much damage to the frame back behind that, but we won't know until we get that off. All right, we got all that torched out. We got that bolt knocked down through, U-bolt knocked out, and as we hit this, you can see that stuff is just, there's nothing structural left, flaking apart like crazy. So if you have an older truck, you had a 5th wheel or a plate on here for a while, you might want to peek under the truck and make sure it's still structurally sound and not like that. So yes, we have that broke loose now from the frame. We'll get this off and, like I said, see how bad the frame is behind it. Hopefully it's just a hitch and a little bit on the frame and it's not so serious, but we'll see as soon as we get it off. But like I was saying, if you've had this is actually a gooseneck. I know I kept saying 5th wheel, but this is actually a gooseneck. The ball is actually still there, but there's no way of I mean, I'm sure you can heat that, do whatever, and get that to come loose, but for right now, that thing is rusted solid. So again, if you've had a fifth wheel or gooseneck hitch on your truck for a while, definitely inspect it. Make sure it's not petrified. All right, we got this broke loose from the frame. It does still have some weight to it, and it's kind of fragile, so I don't want to pick the thing up, have it fall apart in my hands and, like, you know, cause any damage. So I'm just gonna scoop it up with the forks here, lift it up off the truck, and we'll throw it in the scrap pile. Much easier. With that off, we can see we do have some crusty on the frame here. I don't think it's too bad. It's definitely pitted up some. A lot of this is still metal. Grab our pry bar here. A lot of this is still metal from the hitch that's stuck to the frame. And that sounds a little thin there, but there we go. You can hear the difference. So it's definitely thinner in that area, but it is what it is now. We'll get this scraped off and get it protected the best we can, and kind of go from there. So I'll actually show you on this side the same as that. When I quit recording, I tapped it with a ball peen hammer and watched it flake off. Like I said, this is all still metal that was left on by the hitch. So yep, big giant piece just flaked off. We're jumping all around today. Back to work on this Camaro for a little bit. We got some parts coming for the Dodge out there. So we got the header unbolted, actually both sides unbolted, spark plug wires pulled off, the two front spark plugs pulled out. This header will drop right out now as soon as we lift the car up a little bit more. One thing I did notice though, we do have a broken spark plug on the number 5 cylinder here. It doesn't really matter because we're putting new plugs in it anyway. These are very, very fouled. So we do have a new set of plugs to go in. And the problem with these headers is they were not angle plug headers, and these are angle plug heads. So we do have, I don't know if I mentioned that yet or not, we do have some American Racing headers, brand new stainless steel American Racing headers to go on this car. Will be way nicer than what's on it currently, and they are for angle plug. So as you can see down there, they are angle plug heads. We do have this side loosened up too. Unfortunately, they ran wires down through, so we'll have to unhook them. I think they might go to the starter. Not real sure until we put it up, but we'll have to unhook them, pull them through the header, and reroute those. And while we were at it, we went ahead and popped the steering box the rest of the way off. It's sitting down there now. We'll grab our new Borgeson box, throw it up on there, and hopefully everything matches up. So our input splines for our rag joint and our output splines on the pitman arm, hopefully all that matches up, and the same type of fitting for the pressure and return line, but we'll see. And fortunately, everything did line up with the steering box. We have that all back on. It does have the O-ring fittings, and they have AN lines going to them, and it does have the adapter, so all that was good. Bolted up, pitman arm bolted on, rag joint slid on. We have to finish sliding that in and put our bolt in, but that did line up. Splines are good, so we'll get the rag joint tightened up, lines put back on, and once we get the headers and stuff back on, then we can test out that new box. With both of these nasty old headers off, out of the car, out of the way, we have our American Racing headers. Driver's side is actually slipped right up in there, not really any issue at all. Fits like a glove, fits around everything, clearance everywhere. A little tight on the oil filter, but you have room. Nice and snug. It's just ever so slightly below the subframe. We still have room for our cross member. Passenger side, we may have to pull the starter off. I'm going to try and drop it down from the top, see how that works, but we might have to pull the starter off to get that through there. No big deal. and we have one more spark plug that I could not reach with the other header. You can see the difference in the quality of the headers. They actually kind of port matched inside of it. Nice stainless steel, all welded. It's got the cone inside. I don't know if you can see that or not. Little spider web in there also, but and obviously a lot of room for spark plug clearance. So these are applicable for a angle plug head like is on this motor, so it shouldn't have any more issues with spark plugs and changing them, having to pull the header off to actually change spark plugs. So way nicer, definitely worth the money. Getting back to the no more boost, so leaving the car show on Saturday, almost home, I actually was on it a little bit let off, and I heard what I thought was just a blow-off valve, and it sounded a little bit loud. It was louder than normal, we'll put it that way. So shortly going down the road a little bit further, I got back on the gas and no boost. Could hear the turbo spool but no boost. So I figured what happened. We pulled it in the garage, and it was hot, so we didn't really mess with it much. I wasn't running high boost or anything like that. I wasn't even full wastegate pressure, so I'm not real sure what happened. But after further investigation, we go underneath here. As you can see, as soon as I get down here, as you can see, this intercooler piping or pressure pipe blew right off the turbo outlet, and we are missing the clamp too, so I have no idea how that happened. There is a rib here on the end of the turbo, and it's actually kind of roughed up, so I've never had it blow off there. I'm not sure how it even blew off there. The only thing I can think of is the clamp either loosened up somehow, or maybe broke. I don't know. The clamp is totally missing. Now once this blew off, like I said, it's got a lot of pressure, so it would have pushed that pipe up. Maybe the clamp just fell off. It's laying on the road somewhere. I don't know. To fix this, we did get some kind of upgraded. We got some J-bolt clamps. We'll see how they work. The STS supplied some actually really nice like worm screw clamps that clamp really secure. I never really used the J-bolt clamps on this, but we're going to give them a shot since I'm missing one anyway. We'll put that on there. No big deal. Put it back together and we should have boost again. So we got that all put back together. No big issue. Nothing major there. Just blew an intercooler pipe off. Like I said, I have no idea. Never lost a clamp like that. Kind of strange. I think either the clamp just broke, or something weird happened that's never happened before. But it's back together now. Turbo GMC is Turbo GMC again. We have boost. We got both side headers on there and bolted up. That side we had to do a little bit of trimming. The bolt for the upper A-arm was sticking out. We had to trim that off. And this side actually fits like a glove, like really nice. Like I said, there's tons of clearance for spark plugs in there now. So now we do have new valve cover gaskets. So we're going to pull these valve covers off. Nice and clean inside. You can see it's got full roller rockers, got the Brodix heads. Yeah, we have some really nice valve cover gaskets to put on, get rid of these old cork ones, and we'll keep moving right along. With our fresh gasket on there, we got some oil poured over the valve train there too. We'll grab our valve cover here and drop that back down over. Line these studs up. Now we'll just tighten that down and we should be looking good. We'll make sure this is lined up all the way around. Yep. Alright guys, we're back outside here. I'm mocking some stuff up. We have the new rocker sitting out there, and we got as much of this chipped off as we could. we're gonna actually drag the pressure washer out now and pressure wash this whole thing and knock all the crusty stuff off, the dirt, piled up mulch, everything like that. Just pressure wash this whole back. And then after that, we're actually gonna do, I've never used this stuff before, fluid film. I hear it's really good stuff. We're gonna give it a shot. We got a gallon of it here. We have a gun to spray it coming tomorrow. So if you're interested in seeing how that goes on, what it does, and how easy it is to apply, then tune in tomorrow. Well, tune in whenever I upload. Like I said, the gun's coming tomorrow. This is supposed to be good stuff. So I can paint this, but it doesn't get into all the cracks and crevices. The gun I have has a wand. I can shove it down inside the frame and pull it back out as I'm spraying, and it applies this stuff to the inside of the frame as well. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.